Hey, what's up YouTube? Down in the Smartphone Guy, coming back at you with another video, and today I'm excited to share with you my first impressions of this device right here. This is the OnePlus 5, and so chances are if you're watching this, you've probably seen multiple other videos on this device because it's been out for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now, and I'm just now getting it. I kind of held off because I wasn't able to get it on the early bird option. But here it is now. I have it, and I have the 64 gig version, so not the 128. So this does have just 6 gigs of RAM, and I say that air quotes, just 6 gigs of RAM. So plenty of RAM, obviously. And I did want to mention real quick that I did pick this up on GearBest.com, and you can as well. There is a discount on GearBest.com, so you get the 64 gig version for $445. Now, this is the current code. Notice that the first one's crossed out because they change daily. So this is the current code that's available, but I'll keep the most recent codes up to date down in the description. So this is the one that you can currently get it for about a $35 discount from the OnePlus website. So theirs is $479. You can get it at GearBest.com for $445. And this one is not a discount at all. In fact, it's $10 more than what you would pick it up on OnePlus's website. However, you can get it right now versus, I believe there's a 7-day wait right now for the 128 gig version on OnePlus's website. So enough of that. We're going to get rid of that, and now we're going to talk about the device itself. So I've only had this for 2 days, so this is by no means a full review of the device. That will be coming later, but I will say that so far I've been very impressed by the device. I did have the OnePlus 3 last year, but I skipped the OnePlus 3T. I just didn't have the funds, or I decided to go somewhere else. I don't even remember what I did at that point, but the OnePlus 3T was not a phone that intrigued me, but here it is, the OnePlus 5, and so far, I've really enjoyed the experience. So we've got our dual camera set up there, and we got the microphone and our flash. On the top, there is just a small antenna band there, which is kind of cool. They actually kind of hide it. So they did a pretty good job with that. We do have our SIM tray here, and that's a dual nano SIM tray. We have our power button over here as well. And on the left-hand side, we got our volume rocker and our slider. That's our notification slider, so we can change that to do not disturb, vibrate, or regular notifications. And then we have our speaker on the bottom and our Type-C and our headphone jack. So this is one of the few flagships that are out right now that have a headphone jack outside the S8, of course, the G6. I guess that there are quite a few phones that have headphone jacks. It just seems like more and more are getting rid of it. So I'm just going to do a quick size comparison with some other phones. So this is the LG G6, of course, and you can see that the G6 is a little slimmer and just a little bit shorter than the than the OnePlus 5, but it's definitely a little bit thicker than the OnePlus 5, no doubt about that. And then another one that I have here, this is the HTC U11. So these actually are similar build wise, except of course this has glass back versus the metal back here. But in terms of the size, you can see the HTC U11 is just a little bit thicker, and it looks like they're about the same height to me. So the HTC U11 is just a little bit wider and maybe just a little bit thicker as well. For right now, I will say though that this is right now, the HTC U11 is my favorite phone of the year so far. Now I would compare it to the S8, except that I'm actually filming on the S8 at the moment. So let's go ahead and jump into the next thing. So build quality, I do like the build. I know that it looks a lot like the iPhone 7 Plus. I'll get it out eventually. But yeah, I like it. It feels good in the hand, but again, I would want a case or screen protector on, or a wrap on there to just kind of give it a little bit more grip to it. So next thing I want to talk about is the performance, and of course, the performance on this, even if you get the 6 gig version, is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, there's absolutely no lag. I do not have the jelly effect, whatever that might be. If it is there, I don't notice it. I mean, maybe you guys can see it now when I'm doing this, but I have not noticed any kind of gelling effect or anything like that. So it's super fast. I mean, anything that you throw at this phone, it's just going to fly through it. So it's running the Snapdragon 835 processor, which is the same processor as the HTC U11, as the as the Samsung Galaxy S8, as the Xiaomi Mi 6. So other phones that I've had that have the 835, all of them have, been very, very snappy. The S8 might, have just some slight lag, but overall, all of them have been very, very fast. And same is true here. And so no issues there. And in terms of RAM management, yeah, you're going to be able to have just an absolute ton of apps running in the background with no issues. So that actually had to reload, but that was just a system update. Let's see if there's anything else I can jump into. So my Twitter account here. So okay, that's having to reload. Well, it jumped back into it, but either way, yeah, the performance has been absolutely phenomenal. Gaming, absolutely no issues there. You can run the latest games on there that you can think of, and they're going to run just fine on this phone. So next thing I want to talk about is the software, and that's another area where I think OnePlus absolutely shines. I love Oxygen OS. I think it's very, very intelligent. There's a lot of things about it that just work so well. So let's jump down into some of the tweaks that they offer here. So they actually have the customizations built into it. So of course we have the alert slider, which we already mentioned here. So that's that slider. And we have the buttons option. So the buttons allow us to change what these buttons down here do with a long press or short press. So you can customize them pretty much in any way you want. So you can customize the home button. So of course right now it's a search assistant. We can double tap it to get the camera, but there's all kinds of options here. But you can customize them as much as you want or as little as you want as well. Gestures, there's plenty of gestures here as well. So we have flip to mute, 3-finger screenshot. So that works really well. So just a quick 3 fingers and you got a screenshot. That's nice. And we have double tap to wake. We have some music controls as well. We have some, and so these are all screen off gestures. So you can see that right now I don't have any of these turned on, but of course you can change them and customize them to whatever app you want. So you can draw an O when your screen is off. So if I hit the power button, I could just draw an O and it'll open up whatever app I customize that to do. And by the way, that fingerprint sensor is phenomenal. Fastest fingerprint sensor I've ever used. The second fastest for me right now would be the Xiaomi Mi 6, but this one is the fastest. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. And I really like, I'm starting to really like having them on the front, actually. I used to like having them on the back just because that's what I was used to, but now I kind of prefer the front because then when the phone's laying down, you can just pick it up and you don't have to flip your phone over in order to unlock the phone. So I kind of prefer that at the moment. So next thing I'm going to talk about is the status bar. Of course, that can just customize the status bar. So nothing special there. So right now I have it as battery percentage, but you can show whatever you want there. You can get rid of some of the icons, so you can choose which ones are going to show, which ones aren't going to show. You can display the network speed if for some reason you want to do that as well. And then we have, I love this, they actually encourage you to change the launcher there. So they have the customization to change the launcher built right in there, of course. But I mean, any Android phone can do that, but that's just one thing that they have built right in there. Some other ones that I want to mention here, and these are probably the ones that are the best tweaks, and those are under the advanced. So they have a gaming do not disturb. I love that because how many times are you in the middle of a game and you get a notification and all of a sudden it kind of stops your game in the middle of the game? So they have gaming do not disturb. I really like that one. That's just one of them that I have really liked so far since I've had it. But yeah, so software wise, I really like Oxygen OS and what they have to offer there. So next thing I want to talk about is the battery life, and I think that's an area where maybe there's a little bit of a struggle there. Whoops, I just went into the camera, didn't mean to do that. But that is one area where I haven't been particularly impressed so far. So I've had it for 2 days, and in both cases, both days, I was able to get through a full day of battery. So this has a 3,300 milliamp hour battery, but so far, I'm barely getting through a day. Let's see if I have my screenshots here. Is it up here? Collections? No. All right, well, I took a screenshot. Oh, there it was. I saw it. Okay, so I was taking a screenshot of my battery life usage so far. So, whoops, that was the wrong screenshot. That was the one I just took. Here it is. Okay, so this was actually today. So at 8%, that was when I was at 8%, at 11:30 at night. I was at 4 hours of screen on time. So that, I'm not going to get much more than 4 hours of screen on time, which for the Snapdragon 835 processor, that's pretty low. Typically with the 835, I've been getting, for instance, with this phone, this is the HTC U11, I can get closer to like 6 hours of screen on time. Same processor, smaller battery. So that's weird. Like, I don't know what's going on with the OnePlus 5, but it must not be optimized as well as the U11, because the battery life for me so far has not been as good. And another thing to mention here is that this has a 1080p screen versus this one having a 2K display. This is obviously a much cheaper phone, or at least significantly cheaper, but it's weird that I'm not getting at least, similar battery life to what I'm getting on the U11. So that's just something that I'm a little confused by. And so if you guys can explain why that's the case, because that's pretty much what I've seen from most reviewers so far, is they're getting somewhere around 4 to 5 hours screen on time. Now, it is getting me through a full day, but I just feel like it should be better when, a phone like this can get 6 hours of screen on time. Just something that I'm a little confused by. So that's an area that I think needs improvement with this device right now. Next thing I want to talk about is the cameras. So there have been a lot of talk about the cameras on this phone. So we have a 20 megapixel camera and a 16 megapixel camera, and then we have another 16 megapixel camera up front. So far, I've actually been quite impressed by the camera quality. Now, I have only had the chance to do daytime photos, and the daytime photos for me have been great. So this is just a slow-mo picture. This is a time lapse that I did. Yeah, I would say so far, the camera quality has been fantastic. Now, I know that there are issues with the 4K, but I personally don't ever really shoot video in 4K, and I don't know a lot of people that do, the average person that shoots in 4K. Maybe there are a lot of people out there that are shooting in 4K, but personally, that's just not something I do. And I think that so far the camera quality has been great. I've really enjoyed the portrait mode. So I know a lot of people say that they would prefer a wide angle camera, but I actually really like playing with the portrait mode, whereas I never found myself ever using wide angle camera. And maybe that's just me, but that's just not something I've used. So I took my daughter out for a photo shoot, and obviously you can see that, but I just really like that portrait mode. So this is the portrait mode here versus the regular picture. So this same picture, basically, I took the exact same picture. This is the one in portrait mode. And I just really like how it looks. Obviously, it zoomed in a little bit when I took portrait mode. But yeah, to do that, all you're doing is you're just swiping, and this is going to take you to the portrait mode to get that depth effect. So basically, you just take the picture, and it kind of does the depth effect on its own. Now you have to have whatever you're taking the picture of about 1 to 6 feet away is what they say. But so far, I've been pretty impressed with the cameras. Obviously, I'll do more with the cameras in low light and things like that. I'll test out the video quality a little bit more as I get into the full review. But so far, I've been pretty impressed. And last thing I want to talk about are the speakers on the phone. So actually, I shouldn't say speakers. There is a single speaker on the bottom. And I will say that so far, it has been quite loud. So let's go in here, and you can see all the things I searched for. Lots of phones, apparently. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into, let's go Coldplay. So we'll only play it for a little bit, just so we don't get in trouble. But let's go ahead and listen to Coldplay real quick. And yeah, the speaker is very loud.
Planet of the Apes, rated PG-13. I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Achilles and...
Okay, so in terms of speaker, yeah, it's just a single bottom firing speaker, but yeah, like I mentioned, it does get very, very loud. It's obviously not the clearest. It's still a phone speaker, and again, I don't think unless, you know, you're dealing with something like this, you know, like a moto mod, you're just not going to get the best speaker quality out of a phone. And it doesn't even matter, you know, if, you know, for instance, this has the dual front firing speakers, the Alcatel Idol 5S. They sound great, but again, they're still on a phone. So yeah, as far as a loud phone speaker, this one's pretty loud. It's still going to get tinny, and it's still not going, once you put it at the loudest volumes, it's going to distort the volume a little bit, or distort the music a little bit. But you know, it is a loud one in terms of phones go. So with that being said, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.